Hello, guys. Hi, friends. Happy Wednesday. Today it's a very different topic. I think you have seen the blurb. I got someone who is very special, very interesting. I connected with him on LinkedIn, and then I heard out his story over a call, and I said, "Wow, this is really inspiring." It was inspiring for me. Okay, by the way, my background, it's a real background, it's not a virtual background, and there's a good breeze going, so it's moving like that. So just live with it. All right. Okay. What's happening is that I met Nelson Ng from Malaysia, and he has done some quite amazing thing. And the best part of it is that he did it all by himself using money that was actually his or given to him. How many of us would actually, if you're given $1,000, would you take it and use it for something else, something that benefits other people? I think not many of us would do that. So I thought this is really interesting, and I really need to speak to this person and how he has used his bursary money to improve the lives of 3,000 underprivileged students. So let's get him on the studio. Hi, Nelson.
Hi, Dean. Thank you so much for
Hi.
inviting.
Nelson, you're coming all the way from Malaysia, Johor, right?
Yep, Johor is
Yeah.
very near to Singapore. No
Yes.
worries.
Okay. So, from what I know, you are trying to tackle education inequality in Malaysia, and you have set up a scholarship program, and you have recently, just earlier this month, been awarded with UK's Diana Award. Diana, referring to the late Princess Diana. Diana Award for creating social change in Malaysia, and you're one of the only three Malaysian young adults to get it, right?
Yep, absolutely. Thanks for the introduction.
Congrats,
Appreciate it. Yes.
congrats,
Yep.
man. Okay,
Mhm.
so let's get on right into the story. So tell us your social enterprise. I believe it's called Project Ed. So what is it about?
Yep, absolutely. So, Project Ed is a student-led NGO or social enterprise. Well, we tend to go into that area, which strives to tackle education inequality in Malaysia by empowering underprivileged students to pursue their tertiary education dreams. So, what we do essentially, we have three things. We provide scholarships for students. Two, we have our own educational workshops, which we share about tertiary education pathways to
Mhm.
secondary school students. And third, we have our own digital mentorship platform for students to seek advice from Malaysian student mentors from all around the world. Yep.
And this, you are running it all on your own. It's quite a
Yeah.
lot.
I'm blessed with a team of passionate volunteers and also my teammates, core team members who are passionately striving for this together with me. It's never a one man show, one man work. No, it's never gonna be done. If I were the only one doing it, I don't think there's anything gonna work.
Yeah, I don't think you can scale it. It's going to be too much, and you probably will stop your education. Right? Okay.
Absolutely.
Let's start from the beginning. I remember you telling me that you were from a fishing village in Johor. Then you went on to local university. Then you dropped out. Very, very interesting. So tell us the history about this. How it started.
No, absolutely. So I grew up in Pontian. Well, I believe some of you might have heard this place called Pontian. So it's a very nice fishing village where we are famous for seafood. And and the thing is, okay, so I wanted to I'm the first person in my family, a first generation college student. So I wanted to pursue my tertiary education because I know that will alleviate my family financial condition, right?
So I just
And
want to stop you there. When you say first generation undergrad, it means that you are the first person in your whole family to ever go to the
yep,
university, right?
yep,
That's
yep,
awesome.
yep,
Okay,
including
please.
my parents, my nephew or whatever cousins, and all those people. Like, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
and yeah, moving on. I'm blessed with pretty decent results, and I got scholarship from the government. First thing, called JPA, the government scholarship for me to pursue my A levels,
Mm.
and which supposedly should be continued to university as long as I get an offer from top 20 universities. So, but the thing is, unfortunately, because of the all dip in, all prices dip in back in 2016. So they had to cut off the scholarship to make it into a local university scholarship. So instead of overseas scholarships, I had to reject all my top 20 of universities offers to
Oh,
to Malaysia and to study. And then well, I didn't even go yet, right? So and then the thing is, I wanted to study aerospace engineering so much, and in Malaysia, they are very rare that universities actually offer these courses. And for those who offer these courses, because I study A levels, they prioritize the STPM, which is the Malaysia, the government side, more on
mm,
the public side, right? So
mm.
public side of examination. So I didn't get any offers from those three universities which offer aerospace engineering. And then that's why I was like, okay, maybe I should just stop studying, right? So I decided, I told my parents, like, hey, let me go and work. So I was actually working at a Japanese restaurant back then in Johor. So yeah, and then suddenly, one day my dad showed me, this education fair. So I was
Okay.
like, okay, maybe give myself a last chance, right? So my parents drove me all the way to KL for like 5 hours. Reached there, education fair. I saw University of Southampton, and University of Southampton had opened that course in that year, just recently opened. So I'm the first batch, the
Mm,
Malaysia
mm, mm,
campus, first batch who studies aerospace engineering. So I was like, okay, nice. That's just nice, right? And I was so fortunate that they offered me a first 1 year tuition fee waiver. So
wow, nice.
I planned to. My initial plan was just to go study for 1 year, and if I don't get any scholarship, I'll just drop out again. So, 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 so no, that was my plan. I was telling my parents also. Then, yeah, and it is near my house, about 40 minutes from my house. So I was like, okay, let's take up the opportunity. So I almost when I was almost started, like the class starts in October. Started in
Mm.
October. When in September they contacted me, say, hey, there's this scholarship open called Yayasan Khazanah, which is another government initiative,
Mm.
by the which is a scholarship offered by the National Sovereign Firm of Malaysia, right? So they were like, oh, they are interested, so you might want to apply. So I applied without any big hope, right? So I continued proceed to the another stages, then blah blah blah. Then I got in. So I was like, okay,
Nice.
I'll continue. So yeah, that's how I got into where I am right now. Yeah. Mhm.
So I remember you were telling me you were given a good amount of bursary, right? And it
Yeah.
was also for local and also your stint in Australia. I think your last 2 years. So what happened with the bursary? Tell me about it. I thought that was a very interesting story. Yeah.
For sure, for sure. So yeah, after that, once I got the scholarship, the first month when I got my what's that called, the allowance, I was like, okay, interesting. That's quite a good sum of money. So I never see that much of money in my bank account for some reasons. Right? It's like, okay, interesting. So I don't need that much, right? So and I was like, okay, why not let me do something interesting? So to because this is people's money also. It's from the
Mm.
government. So to a certain
Taxpayers' money.
extent,
Yeah.
it's from the taxpayers' money, right? So I was like, okay, it's everyone's money. So let me contribute back to the community. So I was like, I came from I experienced this whole journey. I wanted to help those who are in my same shoes, right? So I wanted to help them.
Mm.
Okay, let's create a scholarship fund. Initially, it's just a crazy idea of wanting to get a lot of students or scholars. I call them scholars, but not necessarily scholarship recipients, but scholars to
Mm.
contribute 45 ringgit a month. And why 45 ringgit? Because it seems like not a big amount. 1 ringgit 50 cents a day, right? If you think about it. So
Ah, so you just calculated it based on that. Yeah,
yeah,
150.
yeah, yeah. Because I was like, okay, if it's more than 50, then quite a lot. People will be like, oh, shoot, 50 ringgit a month. That's a big sum.
Mm.
So if less than 50, okay, it's just that 50. It's just like a mindset thingy. And it's
Mm.
when we initially said we said 1 ringgit 50 cent a day, just to make the number very very small. So people were like, oh yeah, that's not a lot, yeah.
That's not
One
too
ringgit
bad. Yeah.
help people already. So that's when I got started. I asked a lot of friends. Then a lot of people were like, okay, why not? Why not? There are also, a lot of them are scholarship recipients as well.
Mm.
So I got a few core teammates to help me around, to work together, to start to get a lot of people joining us. And that was the first version. It's just a scholarship fund, right? We didn't it was a social project. We didn't actually register it, to be honest. Then we realized that, oh no, that's not good, because we need to have transparency and we need to be credible, right? So we realized we need to register for an NGO status.
Mm.
That's when things come, more seriously and more official, I would say.
Wait,
And
even before you carry on, I'm
yeah.
just very curious. People your age, so you're in your 20s, right? So
Mhm.
when you get a good sum of bursary money, chances are you will probably use it to party or buy branded stuff, and you'll be very happy and maybe treat your friends. But instead, you and your friends chose to start a crowd-funded or crowdsourced bursary. So you seem to have you seem to hang on to very powerful personal values. Maybe what are some of these values that you you think that you are working with within you?
Well, I mean, I would say, well, I mean, if I were to say, right, I think I do still go out, hang out with friends, party sometimes when I was in the UK. That's experience, right? You wanna have
Yeah.
good experience, and you wanna experience those things. You know, I'm not, reluctant to those. But then I would say, in terms of giving back, that's one thing, because during my scholarship, just a share a quick story. So during my scholarship
Mm.
award ceremony, right, my scholarship manager actually told me one thing, told all of us one thing, all the scholars. The scholarship is given through you, not to you.
Oh wow, that's very interesting. Yeah, through
Yeah,
you,
that's a
not
very,
to
very
you.
powerful message for me, particularly,
Mm.
and also for other scholars as well. I took that into my heart, and yeah, I never thought, scholarship is something that for me to contribute back. I was like, okay, this
Mm.
is scholarship, right? Initially, before I get the scholarship, I was like, okay, scholarship is for me to study. So now I realize I have a bigger responsibility, not only for myself, but for the community, right? So that's why I was like, okay, yeah, that's a very powerful message. And what can I do? What can I do more? And hence, starting this initiative. And things get more interesting when I starting to do something. People come and help. You get more
Mm.
empowered. If people actually want something like this, then you continue, and more people join. You feel very, very, very good, I guess. To a certain extent, that you feel, okay, I'm actually doing something, and I'm realizing my promise, right? As a responsible scholar. Yeah, in this
I'm
case.
just, I just want to check. Were you doing any community-based community service before you got the scholarship? Is it already part of your habit, or is this something totally new when you got the bursary?
No, absolutely. I think, well, even before this, my parents have been telling me on one thing, right? So, they always go to orphanage, which to be honest, I don't encourage anymore,
Ah.
because that's not the most sustainable way to contribute, to be honest. But no, that's another story. But,
Mm.
they actually, instilled me with this giving back, what's it called? Attitude when I was
Mm,
young.
mm, mm,
Yeah, and during my A levels, I also volunteered with several organizations. What's that called? Volunteer my time to teach
mm, mm.
at those underprivileged schools, right? So I think that set a good foundation for me. And yeah, that's, I think, has been in my blood. And I would say, no, I think everyone has something like this. Just that if it is
Mm.
they have enough resources or time to actually
Mm.
contribute, or being mindful or not to bring that out.
That's right. But it's like what you said. Everyone has it in them, but not many people actually act on it because they always say, "Oh, I'm so busy doing this. I'm busy working. I'm busy studying. I don't have time to think about that. Maybe one day when I retire, then I'll do it." But we know that social service should start, or community service should start now, right? Do what you can with what you have, right? And you are like an amazing example for that.
Absolutely, thanks
Yeah.
for that.
Yes, and you
But
have to thank your parents for that, right?
actually, you mentioned a very good point, which I would love to highlight here, is that a lot of people would say, I don't have enough money. When I'm rich, I will
Yeah.
donate. When I retire, well, I will donate some part of my money. So I
Mm,
think I wouldn't say correct, but maybe share my point of view, is that
mm, mm, mm.
I always believe that no matter how great or how small your contribution is, it collectively will be a bigger impact for the community. For instance,
Absolutely.
I only contribute 45 ringgit a month. Will it be a big impact? No, it won't if it is I myself. But with more than 100 people, we can
Wow.
contribute more people. We can, this impact will be collectively bigger, right? So that's where I see all this. Like we should, even individually, we should contribute as much as we can, as possible, and then collectively, if you look at it in a macro view, things will get better. Yeah, of course. That's why I see,
So okay, so going back to your story, so you registered an NGO, but you seem like you're kind of young to register an NGO. Was there any problem with it?
Oh, yes, absolutely. We registered 4 times, to be honest, to get that done. So it took us about 1.5 year, one year 3 months, something like that, to get that registered because the officers thought we were too young. They thought we were not serious, not being serious. They thought we just want to get a name, some sort. To
Mm.
the extent they were like, oh, you sure? This is a huge responsibility because they
Let
have a
me
lot
check.
of
How old were you guys? Average age? I think you guys should be around the same age, right?
1920. Yeah.
Oh, okay, that's very young. Yeah. Okay, carry on. Yeah.
Yeah, it must be above 18, right? So we just
Yes.
passed the some there was, I think, one of them, because it requires 7 people to register an NGO. So I think one of the members was 18 years old, just passed the what's that called, his
The
birthday.
birthday.
I remember. So I think first or second trials, then they were like, oh no, he just passed 18-year old. How is he gonna do this? So I was like, no, you believe in us. I went to all the way to the Johor branch of the Registry of Society, the office, and I sat next to the officer. I was like, officer, so what do I need to convince you? So there was problems with naming. There was problem with our, like, what's that called? The members. They were too young, stuff like that. I was like, now this is what we did, and we have done this, done that. We showed them how many members do we have for now, how many money have we raised, how much money have we raised. Like, so they were like, okay. After 4 times of pestering them, I would say, so they allow us to start this NGO. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting that you know the skeptics are the one that stops. Like the government or the rule says that as long as you're past 18, you can set up an NGO, and you guys want to do it, yet it is the person or the people that is administrating this that might be blocking you, right?
To be
Right. I mean,
honest,
yeah.
yeah. To be honest, I don't blame them because I after I got into this what's that called, field, right? I do see a lot of people wanting to start an NGO, and some of them even managed to start that. But then after a year, that thing disappeared. Even for old, I wouldn't say older, yeah, much more experienced people,
More
like
matured, more matured. Yeah.
mature. Yeah, yes, that's the correct word. 30-year-old or plus, right? They started an NGO, but after a year or so, they didn't. It's not being continued with full passion. They leave it there. That's it. So I do know their queries. I mean, their worries also, and I just want to ensure them we are really wanting to do stuff. So
No,
yeah.
it's definitely not easy to run an NGO on top of, let's say, your work commitment and your personal
For
life
sure.
commitment. That's for sure. But to stop you from registering, I think that could have been improved. So anyone who's listening and you are one of the person or know someone who's in charge of registering the NGO, don't stop people because you never know. It could be like Nelson, right?
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay. So it seems like you convinced your friend just by saying, hey, it's only 150 ringgit a month. Is it? Is it a
Yeah.
month? Yeah.
A week.
A week.
No.
A week.
A day. Sorry, 1 ringgit 50 cent a day.
A
45
day.
ringgit.
Yes, a day. 45 ringgit a month. Okay. But how did you convince them to go further and kind of take ownership for the NGA?
Right. So yeah, I think I believe when we first got started, right, this was a very lots of my friends are like who I approach. They are all, most of them are scholars, so they come from similar background as I do. So they really appreciate the opportunity and the privilege, I would say, to study, and some of them overseas. So they want to give back too, and hence we got like I was pretty blessed to have a bunch of people who are very passionate. Initially, without me pushing them, and that's when we got started. And slowly, when we got more people, they want to volunteer because I believe how I actually run this organization with my teammates. I always tell them, we want to ensure that there's growth within the organization. Our volunteers growth. So not only that they contribute, being a monthly contributor doesn't mean they only contribute money and that's it. I want to see growth in them too. So that's why we have a lot of meetups, we have a lot of workshops, we invite a lot of people to come in to share knowledge with Project Family, I call, like all the volunteers, they can all join. And we have a lot of workshops that they can volunteer as a mentor to do things so that they actually learn and we see growth. And a lot of volunteers actually turn out to be our permanent, I would say, core members, to do more stuff. And that's where I see, these things slowly to pick up.
Okay, share with me some significant activities that you have done, maybe projects or ongoing activities that you have done in Project Ed.
For sure. So, of course, Knowledge is Free Scholarship Program. That's our flagship scholarship program. We have awarded 8 students, and we're gonna award another 8 this year. So in total 16. And also we have another scholarship program called Endeavor Scholarship, which we recently partnered with Taiwanese University, and we have sponsored 4 students. So in total, by the end of this year, we have 20 students who are being sponsored, and then we run educational workshops across Malaysia, especially in the rural areas of Malaysia. So that's where we see bigger impacts when a lot of volunteers can come in, like students like us, they can share their experience, because we believe that our biggest asset is actually everyone's unique education experience, higher education experience, and hence we want all this unique experience to be shared.
So what do you actually teach those people who come into the program? Is there a certain curriculum, or is just sharing about your bursary and how to get to the tertiary education?
Correct. It's more on the later one. So we actually do it in the gallery walk style. So we split different booths. So and split them into groups, small groups, because we believe it's easier to get attention. The students' attention and the teachers, the volunteers' attention, right? If the students want to ask any questions. So we do it in a small group, and the students go around, different booths in a particular, time frame, and then share different topics like overseas pathways, local pathways, national studies, what's it called, public service, civil service, for instance, you want to and policemen and whatnot, so on and so forth. So that's all the different pathways that we can figure out more comprehensive, to make it comprehensive for the students. Yep.
And this is you're going out to the rural schools, right? Like far off from the city. Because I'm just wondering, because this, you are bringing information about tertiary education to the rural sites, rural schools. Don't the institutions themselves go and reach out to these people? Why do we need an NGO like yourself, Project Ed, to go and reach out? So I'm not from Malaysia, so and a lot of my friends here are not from Malaysia. So maybe you can explain, share the background so that we can understand the context better.
Absolutely. I think to a certain extent, right, I believe the institutions do go, but those institutions, they actually engage with a third party, what's that called, event organizing companies, things like that. So those universities who pay, then they will go. So that's not comprehensive, first thing first. And a lot of local public universities, they don't just go, so they don't publicize this kind of things, so students won't be aware of this. And we heard a lot of students say, I thought my only way is STPM, and my result is not good to go into STPM, which is the national A-level equivalent.
Okay.
So I was like,
so that means they go to the, I think at the we call it secondary, so secondary 5, right? Yours is secondary 5, and then they need to go to the next level before they go to a university, right? Yeah. So which we call like JC, junior college.
JC, right?
Yeah. So you're saying that once they hit the secondary five national testing or exams, then they always think that okay, this is the end. There's nothing else I can do. Then I go to work, right? So you're trying to bring a message that no, there's actually more that you can do, right, in
Yep.
education. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Any specific examples of you kind of like changing the minds of the uh, you know students there in the rural areas?
No, yeah, absolutely, for sure. Well, there are tons of examples that I can
Mm,
actually share. One of the very, I would say, very common example is that students think they have to, the only pathway is STPM. Once they finish, they work, or they have to pay a lot of money in order to go for tertiary education.
mm,
The second example is that because Malaysia, there is this thing called PTPTN loan, which is like almost interest-free loan for, I wouldn't say interest-free, there's a very, very low interest,
mm,
which you need to pay when you graduate and you found a job. When you found a job and then you start paying. So a lot of people have, are quite reluctant to, to engage with this PTPTN loan. I consider this as a free money, to be honest, because the
ah,
interest rate is so low, and, and it's so low that yeah, it's literally like free money. It's a benefit for the people, but a lot of the students don't want, because one, they're afraid of getting into student debt.
mm, mm, mm.
They they just don't like this loans. I think it might
Maybe they
what
have
we
a bad impression of what loan is, right?
correct, and also a little bit of taboo from from cultural
Ah,
that
okay, okay, okay.
you don't want to get into debts or whatnot, right? Loans. So that's the thing, and we always encourage our the students to actually get that loan, because it's literally free money for
Mm,
for the students, as long as you pay back, right?
mm, mm.
So in the time, so that's not a problem. And a lot of, and sometimes the students can't get the loan because they don't have enough documents. So that's where we need to find another way out. Yeah.
Mm. Okay, so you have been going out to the rural parts. Tell me, which is the like the furthest away that you have traveled to?
No,
Like the
absolutely.
deepest parts.
My team and I last year we went to Semporna, Sabah.
Okay.
So that's where I really see something interesting. Like, it opened my eye, to be honest. Like, most of the time we focus on the peninsula because it's easy, right? Easier for us to
Mm,
carry our
mm,
workshop in a car. But to Borneo, we need to fly, and it's not
yeah.
cheap to fly over to Sabah and Sarawak. So that was our, to be honest, last year was our first time going to Sabah and Sempurna. So was quite shocked of the state. We actually, once we reached there, one of the schools I remember, we went to three schools in Sempurna, secondary schools. One of the schools, we had to take a ferry, not a ferry, a boat, to bring
Sampan.
all our, not sampan, but it's motorboat, but it's a
Okay.
very, yeah, it's not really nicely built. So so eight of us, we took a boat, like, and then we carry all our materials, manilakas, mahjong papers and stuff
Mm,
like that, right? So we go all the way, and then once we reach another island, so it's a separate island from the main island. So once we reach the island, 30 minutes boat. Once we reach the island, we have to take another 1 hour, 40 minutes to 1 hour a van ride just to reach the school.
that's a lot
Yeah.
of effort to help underprivileged kids, right? I
I
think
think it's our eyes also.
it's
And also my volunteers were like, wow, okay, this is something we never see, and I appreciate the opportunity, to be honest,
yeah.
because it actually allow us to to empathize with the students and
Mm,
understand the situation in Malaysia, which we never
mm,
experienced. Most of my volunteers are from KL, big cities, and
mm,
they don't understand that. And I myself, even though I'm from a fishing village, I wouldn't say I've experienced that also. That's another level for me.
mm.
So I truly appreciate the opportunity. Yep. They don't have, for my place, we don't have cinema. The nearest cinema, I have to travel like about 45 minutes. For them, they don't even have cinema in that island.
Mm,
So they have to take 3 hours or 4 hours in order to go to the city of
yeah,
Sempona.
yeah.
And
The town, I
possibly,
suppose. The town
yeah,
of Singapore.
yeah, no
Yeah.
McDonald's, no yeah, nothing. So that's very, I would say, special and interesting for us to have a sense and to actually take that into our heart as well. Yeah.
Mm. So you cannot really blame them for not knowing what opportunities they actually
Correct.
have that's within reach, right? So they must
Correct.
be very thankful that you guys came and educated them, right?
Correct.
Okay. So thinking back, how many years has it been, Nelson?
Officially 2 years, unofficially 3 years. With with
Before you
the
set up the NGO, right?
correct.
Okay. So what was your biggest challenge so far?
Well, I would say it's always team commitment because we are all
Mm,
students, right? So we have to juggle between academics, family, personal life,
mm,
and plus this. So this is an extra hassle for a lot of us. And also we live in different time zones. So I studied in the UK previously,
mm,
and
mm.
some of my friends study in Malaysia, some study in Australia. So it's like in China, so different time zone
Mm.
for all
But
of
these are
us.
all your Malaysian friends who have gone to different
Yep,
universities
yep,
most of
yep.
them,
I've
right?
studied everywhere. Yeah.
Okay.
So luckily we didn't have any US team members. So so
Mm.
honestly it would be crazy. I don't think we will be able to accommodate that for now. But no, yeah, I think that's been our biggest challenge. For us to commit and to schedule our time. Even to schedule a meeting, it was a big trouble for me. So I figure out ways to set the time every bi-weekly. On a weekend that
It's like a
particular time.
standard time that all must come for that. Okay,
Yes, so
so that we
everyone knows
can, yeah,
that time out. Yeah,
everyone can kind of look forward to that specific
correct,
time.
correct,
That's
correct.
right. That's right.
Yeah.
So, do you find yourself like getting disagreements on between your team member, especially your core team members, on how this project ad should move forward or what certain programs should be run? Because I know this human group dynamics can really be a major derailer to your efforts. Yeah. Do you
Of
have any?
course, plenty. I would say. So I think there are lots of disagreements, of course, and when there's any disagreement arises, right? So what we always go is that I think we are pretty blessed that we actually stand firm to our values. So we came up with certain values that we have to have to follow because we believe in those, and that's when there is any disagreement, we will align ourselves to those values. So
Uh,
for instance, our value is transparent,
hmm.
data driven. So we want to make sure that all of the things are being recorded, being able to quantify,
Okay.
and all our impacts are being quantified as well with all the survey forms later.
Hmm.
How we run the survey, how do we run a workshop and stuff like that. And also we want to ensure everyone's growth. So these are the three main things that we look into. So for whatever decisions we make, we go back into our values. So that's when we are able to to align ourselves even there's disagreements. Yeah.
I must say that's a very, very, very matured way of thinking. Where did you learn this? Was it in your education or your parents taught you? Where did this come from?
Right. Well, I would say I'm pretty blessed with a lot of mentors,
Hmm.
uh, which I found on LinkedIn, and like one introduced me to another. So I have a lot of opportunities which I got to meet a few mentors which I feel they will teach me something. So I have a very special way of my personal way to learn things. I believe if I always go to the to find the experts in that particular area. So when I wanted to learn marketing, I went to find a friend of mine who is the expert in marketing that I can possibly find. And I wanted to learn strategy. So I went to someone who is the best person in NGO strategy for NGO. So I went there and mentioned that. I went there, then I was like, I was like, okay, let me, I introduced myself, and I was a student, right? So the good thing about students is that you need to take this into advantage because they will help you because a lot of successful people they want to help students, and that's why
Absolutely, yeah.
easier for me. And I started to ask them, go humble and ask what I can offer before I even ask things. And then that's when they are more than happy to help, and now we become friends, and they are always supporting us and in one way or another. Yeah, so that I get to learn a lot of things from them.
That's really nice. So it seems like not only are you very connected to the community conscious, I would say, you are also smart, and now I know that you are also resourceful. That's amazing, Martin. Okay, so looking back on these 2 years, what is your proudest moment?
What? Sorry. What? Come again? What
What
was my
what what's your proudest moment running this running project at? Yeah.
right? Well, to be honest, I would say I have a few very proud moments. So one of the proudest moment I would say is when the first Knowledge is Free scholarship program was being settled. So being launched and being provided to students. So we launched our uh, award ceremony. That was the proudest moment because we raised all the funds for 1 year plus. Then we managed to get that distribute all those funds. I was like, wow, okay, something
Yeah,
something
yeah, it worked, right? Your
yeah,
idea came to
you know,
fruition. Yeah.
idea to a realization. That's when like,
Mm,
wow, yeah, that's amazing. That was one of the best moments I had with Project Ed. Then
mm,
later, what I see is also the growth, from someone, my teammates who knew absolutely nothing. I sort of asked him to join because them to join because I really feel they can do something, and from
mm.
literally nothing to all the opportunities he has. So he got to go to the US for conferences, to learn things and to
Wow.
share with us. So that's amazing. So yeah, those opportunities, and like my team members, some of them graduated, managed to get into interesting works. So yeah, that's when I see their growth also, and I'm very proud of that. So that's when we align to our values, right? We want to I want to ensure the
Mm,
growth of our team member, not only in the physical way but also in their heart as well. Yeah.
mm. And I just want to highlight, and friends, I just want just keep in mind that all these things that Nelson and his team is doing is taking out of their own money and their time, right? Like you're going all the way to Sampurna, and it's all this. No one is funding you, right?
No, to be honest, we are pretty blessed because a lot of we have monthly contributors, and also because a lot of people look into our organization and see, hey, we want to offer help, and we are pretty blessed that some of our staffs are being sponsored, and also we try to sustain ourselves by running CSR programs for corporates. So we are fortunate to work with Kazana and
Mm,
Accenture and several big companies to actually run CSR programs for them, and we got some funds from them, and we
mm.
received some grants from some organizations as well. For
Oh,
instance, like
nice. All right. Okay. So, what do you, this is starting to sound like a job interview. So, how do you see Project Ed evolving for the next few years? What do you and your friends hope to achieve?
right. Well, if I were to say very honestly, when I first started Project Ed, I came in with vision. I envisioned one day when lots of like when I'm 60, 70, 80, right? So lots of people coming together, then you can see different people going into different work, and they contributed to the community, in different ways. That's one I see. Wow, that's very wonderful. That was my envision when I first wrote down I want to start a scholarship fund in my bucket list, right? So now I hope that one day Project Ed will not be existing anymore, because that's when education is equal for everyone. So
Oh,
everyone gets the opportunity to go, to
then
study
you
what
don't need to have this, right? You don't need to.
exactly. There's no need for us to be existing anymore. So that's my long term, very very long term goal, which I believe is possible, but it takes a lot of effort from a lot of
Mm, mm,
parties. It's not only us.
mm,
And short term goal, we want to push this knowledge is free. I personally
mm,
believe knowledge is free, education is expensive. I
mm,
want to push this. We wish to push as much this awareness to more people, so that it's easier for more people to contribute and to get to our
mm.
goal in the future. Yeah.
Okay, so friends, if you want to contribute, if you want to find out more about what Nelson and his team is doing, you can connect with Nelson at his website, nelsoneng.my. My is Malaysia, right?
Yep.
So, Nelson, any last words or any advice you would give to someone who's thinking of starting a social enterprise?
Right. Well, I mean, lots of people ask me, especially my friends who want to start and start a project, right? So I would say you don't start one if you don't need to. So so why? I'm being very serious because need to really one needs to really know why do you want to start an organization, so that keeps you going when things go down, like low,
Mm.
and
The
keeps you,
why, right? Yeah.
yeah, keeps you humble when things go up, right?
Mm.
So you will always focus on your goal. For
Mm.
instance, we started because we see a problem in education for Malaysian students after secondary school. So we want to solve that problem, and
Mm.
so you need to figure out what's the why before you even thought of a solution, right? So yeah,
Great. That's really beautiful, I would say. So, friends, I'm talking to you. If you want to contribute, or if you want to find out more, please contact Nelson. And this is a little bit different. Usually, get my guests to share powerful knowledge tips that you can use. But this time, I thought after talking to Nelson, I say we all need a bit of inspiration, and Nelson has given me at least, and I'm sure for you, the inspiration. And if you think that you need to, you more people should know about what Nelson's doing, and young people like him, uh, young people when they hear Nelson's story, they probably will be inspired and start their own NGO. So share this video with your contacts and your network. So with that, Nelson, thank you very much for coming
sure.
here.
It's my
All right.
pleasure. Thank you for the invitation. Yep.
No worries. And friends, have a good rest of the day. Bye bye.
Right. Bye bye.